John, huge pleasure to meet you, by the way. My name's Patrick. I'm from the Daily Starmer. I'm a huge fan. I'm a huge fan of yours.
Thank
So
you very much.
I tell you what, I'm actually more interested in finding out about your life actually this year and your experience as well. But we're going to start off with Tyson as well because it's so soon. Now, John, you blasted some of his preparations before he took on Francis Ngannou. I just want to ask, how are preparations going on at the minute his side? What have you heard? What do you think they learnt from the previous fight as well?
Well, I don't know because I've not been there because I've been extremely busy catching up on what I'm doing here. But if you haven't had a kick up the backside from my last statement, well, there's something wrong. They know now what they've got to do at this level. They've got to get it a 100% improvement. And anything less, well, they've dropped the ball, haven't they? You know, because at the end of the day, whether they can, whether they can't, I don't know. But what I seen last time, you know, it was all about this 12-week camp, and I'm not going to bang on about it because what's said, said. I'm going to stand by that. Well, all they need to do is start impressing me. They want to start next month on the 17th. If they don't, well, it's Tyson's own fault. There's no one else to blame, only him. You know, because I voiced my opinion, you know, and like I say, I'm not the brains of Britain, but I've been around this game a long time. And you've got to work, haven't you? And you've got to have some muscle in your frame. You know, you've got to be strong. You've got to look the part. And he just didn't in his last fight again in Ghana. Not taking nothing from Francis. He done a marvellous job. He done a lot better job than I thought he could ever do. But then again, he's had Mike Tyson training him. What's been an all-time great himself. So can just make nobody. But he knows what he's got to do. He's intelligent enough. If he's woke up and he's smelt the coffee, it'll be Tyson win. And if he hasn't, good luck to the other team. The best team and the best man will win on the night. You know, can I compare Sugar Hill and the rest of the team with what I'm seeing with Usyk on the last show? Definitely not. But everybody are entitled to the benefit of the doubt. But if they get it wrong, it's a bad place to be wrong, isn't it? The heavyweight undisputed championship of the world. It's a bad place for an error, isn't it? But Tyson's that good. He's that good. He's that determined. His balls are that big. His heart's that great. And he'll just say, sod you. Just give me a drink and let me do my own thing. Like he did in the last 3 rounds in Ngannou. Because the instruction he was getting last time was pathetic. You know, and at the end of the day, people can only do what they can do. If they're not up to the job, they're not up to it. But Tyson's, he's a vet. He's skilled. And if the job ain't working in the corner, he's going to do what he does best. Use his own brain, his own initiative, and do what works for him. And that'll be enough to see him to a Usyk win. You know,
Absolutely right. Normally, at the end of fights, Tyson is extremely compulsive. You know, he's been in the ring, he's sang, he's called out people, he's done some really exciting, interesting things. I don't know about you, but after Ngannou fight, in my opinion, he seemed quite shaken. He didn't seem as certain on the microphone. He seemed a little bit wobbly. Right? That might have just been the physicality of the fight. What was Tyson like in the days after that fight? How was he feeling? What was he like?
Normal. You know, like I say, he took a lot of stick, didn't he? You know, that in Ghana, the hardest hitting ever in the world, hit him with a temple shot. It would have given anybody else brain damage. You know, so you're going to be a little bit wobbly after an hard 10 rounds. And I don't think Tyson really wanted to be there in the first place, to be honest with you. He just wasn't up for it, was he? He just he just never got to the office, Tyson. But what he was all right. An hour after, it was perfect. You know, and I left an hour later anyway. I had to catch a plane. But, you know, he's been all right, you know. Sometimes we need wake-up calls in life. And he got one. And it says, don't underestimate anybody. Always come 100% prepared, no matter who you're fighting, because you never know what they prepared like. You know, in Ghana, he gives anybody else in the world problems. Anybody else took a shot like that, they would have stayed down. The Gypsy King keeps getting up to win, doesn't he? And I've watched a fight time and time again with a sound off, and he was a clear winner. It was only what made it look interesting with Ngannou. If Ngannou hadn't dropped him, we wouldn't have this conversation, would we? You know, but nobody was expecting him thought he was going to get turned over in 2 rounds. But a lot of people out there that say they understand boxing and don't. You know, whoever said somebody could have turned Ngannou over in 2 rounds, man what's been elbowed in the face, kicked in the face, stamped on, 19.5 stone, built like a tree. Good luck to you if you think you can in 2 rounds. But he's proved to me Ngannou he's earned his place for the best in the world. And for my money, he's in the top 3 in the world. You know, he really is. And that's that.
Absolutely, yeah. Now, John, I just want to ask you. I've done some work in bare knuckle boxing a few times, particularly with the BKFC. It's becoming more mainstream. It's become its own fighting organisation. Now, I just want to ask, when you was in your bare knuckle boxing days, can you give me an insight into what a normal event was like, and really paint a picture for me what it was like?
I'd rather not, you know, because at the end of the day, it's just BS. You know, you're talking about a low caliber man in me. The only thing good in my life was being Tyson Fury's father. That's the only thing I can claim fame to. Who wants to know about somebody who's been rolling around on some streets half his life and having some street fights with people who can't fight? Some men were worse bellies on than me. You know what I'm saying? It was only that I'd done a bit of boxing. You know, I've done this, that, you know, a little bit semi-fit. You know, I'm not worth talking about, mate. So let's move on and talk about some proper men who deserve to be talked about. And I'm not one of them. I've been a bum all my life and I'm going to stay a bum.
Do you think so? Do you really not consider yourself a proper man? Because you've been around the block, you've had your stripes at the same time.
I'm as much a man as anybody. Ask the missus, 100% male. I love being a man. I was born a man, I'll die a man. I fear nobody. And anybody who wants to come and try and take the to my face, they'll find out what John Fury is really like. There's other men tried it in the past, and it's all ended up bad for them. That's all I'm going to say about John Fury, because I'm one mean when I come unstuck. Does that answer your question? Let a man come to my face and insult me and my family, and I'll tear his face off. That's the John Fury you're dealing with. Not someone who's going to make a boxing match of a street fight. No chance. You mess with this man, mate, you're in big trouble. And if you're capable, put me in big trouble. But there's a lot of men tried, a lot of men's failed. That's all I'm saying. Let's move on to proper guys. Let's not talk about non-entities like me.
Okay, fair enough. yeah, absolutely right. Absolutely right.
I'm up for myself because I'm the head of my home. And any man that can't defend his own home is not a man. I'll defend my own home to the day I can't walk them on 2 crutches. It's in my DNA. You know, a lot of men can only dream of being like me, can't they? Because I'm the father, not for what I've done in my life. I've done nothing to write home about. You know, I've been a waster most of my life, but I am the father of the king of the world. And that says something, doesn't it? And I'm truthful. I'm very truthful as well. I'm very, very truthful in what I say. And you'll find out as time goes on, things will unfold and you say, you know what, he was right. A fool can make a wise suggestion at some point. So I'm telling you this because you're a young guy. You're a young guy. People can say this and say that. They're called keyboard warriors. When I was in prison, I used to get called at 10 o'clock at night, every name under the sun through the windows. What they was calling me and my family was unprecedented. But did I know who was saying it? No. There's 1,500 men in the prison. Where the noise come from, you can only guess. But would they say it to my face? No. No. And I've been around some hard cookies in my life who thought it was tough. Nobody's ever insulted me to my face. They can say what they want behind my back, because when there's miles and miles in front of people, when you're stood there, when you're looking like you're going to do somebody some damage, let's see where the balls are then. I know what mine are. I know what mine are. You'll not kill me to stop me, because I'll end it there. I don't want the police knocking on my door anyway.
Absolutely not.
I've knocked on my door too many times for violence. People in the know, let me tell you, the people in the know who know me, they know I'm not to be messed about with. I'm respectful. I'm everything a man should be. But am I a fool? No. Definitely not.
Hmm.
Fools don't rear families.
Absolutely right.
Fools don't direct kids to stardom and fame and wealth. Keep them there, do they? You know, I'm still the head of my own home. Fools don't get to that position. I've held that position since 17 years old. So always remember. Let's move on. Stop talking about a bum like me anyway. Come on, let's move on.
Yeah, but you're not necessarily. I don't personally think you're a bum. I mean, you said earlier just you feel like a waster, except you were able to provide that environment to help Tyson, Tommy, all the others succeed in their endeavours as well. So I think it's difficult to really call you a bum if you wanted my opinion on that.
Depends on it again. Depends, doesn't it? You know, all I've done in my life has been hard work. I've took the hard road. I could have done things a lot easier, but probably never had the brains to go down the easy road. Probably I never had the brains to avoid people I should have been avoiding. You know, but I've learned by trial and error. You know, but I've nothing to write home about. I've no money. I live in a shed. I drive a 30-year-old car. I live on rabbit stew. I live on what I kill. I'm the only man in the world that probably spends Christmas in the middle of a wood in the dead of winter with him and a dog. So that's what I do. That's me. I don't want to change. But what I am, I'm a good Christian man. I respect people who respect me. I'm polite. And I do make the odd wise suggestion now and then. But do I know everything? Definitely not. Is there better people out there than me? Yes, there is. I don't deny that. But still, my true claim to fame, I've got two very famous sons, multimillionaires. All the rest of them's doing well. They're all alive. I'm in good health. I'm happy. I'm in good spirit. I've got good people working around me at the minute, and I can distinguish a mug now, where I couldn't before. I just hit them with a left hook and hope the policeman never come the next day. But now I can avoid that. Anger management works.
John, you mentioned earlier just then you've hung around some hard cookies. I think that was your phrase, but I remember rightly. Are there any individuals you remember who particularly stand out in terms of those really tough, hard, you know, for the lack of a better saying? Is there anyone that sticks out in your mind?
Again, all the people I'm talking you would not have heard of them because you're too young. My life, the life I led is out with the awesome buggy. Most of the people are no longer with us. You know, you got the great Bartley Gorman and people like that. You know, all the lads of the past. There's been some great men, especially in this country in Ireland. Over the decades, been some real hard men, hasn't they? You know, and I've had the pleasure to be in them men's company because men of yesteryear and the men today, you can't call them men today because the men of today get devoured and ate for breakfast by men of the yesteryear. You know, and like I say, I've been up and down, rolling with some people most worldwide. People what was fearless people and didn't value their life to 50p. But today, we live in a different world. Time's moved on. I've moved on. I'm an old man now. I've learned better sense. But back in the day, we all wanted to be survivors and winners. But there's always a cost. And the cost, it's documented. It's cost me a lot of jail time, a lot of ill feeling, a lot of non-talking. You know, members of my family I'm never going to speak to or see again, you know, through the life I've led, through the life they've led. You know, the deceit, the backstabbing, listening to too many people that don't know what they're talking about. I'm guilty of that as well. So are they. But I'm a man who likes my own company. I've decided now that at this stage of the game, I'm a one-horse race. You know, I'm out there on my own. I don't bother with nobody because the world has passed me by now. All I can do is sit back. If I see some people like yourself, I'll advise you to the best of my ability to do better. But now, nobody wants to hear the older end, do they? Nobody wants to hear what I've got to say anymore. I'm out with the awesome buggy, and people don't believe you anyway. Because the people who believed in you knew me. They're long gone. They're long gone. You know, you can ask certain people up and down who know John Fury in the Manchester area. They know what kind of character I've been, you know, and I had a lot of respect for them, as they have for me, you know, and that, what more can we say? But today's men, it's a different ball game, isn't it? Different ball game. Today's population could not survive in the days I did. The 80s, the 90s, there's been some great things happened in them 2 decades. Thankfully, I've lived through it. I've lived through the best years where if you wasn't a man and you couldn't look out for yourself, you didn't get nothing. You didn't get even anywhere near the feeding bowl. So to feed out that bowl, you had to be somewhat special. You know, and at the end of the day, I did what I had to do. I did what I had to do to survive. And I'm still here to tell the story. It's a boring story, but it's only the people from yesteryear can understand where I'm coming from. It's no good me trying to explain to a young man what was born 15 years ago, because they don't know. They just look at me as an old fat guy sat here what's never had a life. But I've lived more in a year than probably somebody's ever lived. I've lived more in 12 months than he's living a lifetime. You know, I've got, you know, but like I say, I'm happy in my own skin. I don't need friends, because today's kind of friends are not friends. If you've not got money and you've not got a big car, or you're not somebody to show off with, they don't want to know you, do they? And those people, I'm not really interested in their company. You know, I get more pleasure out of talking to my dog, because the dog will probably be more loyal than any human being close to you. And I don't mean that in every case, because there's people out there got some great friends, they got great family. In my case, that one eluded me proper. But am I griping about it? No, definitely not, because I can take it on the chin because I'm a man. And in a few short years, it's all irrelevant anyway, because I'm not going to be here, am I? The only thing I remember me for is being the father of Tyson. And if it wasn't for Tyson and his achievements, I wouldn't be here talking to you now, because nobody'd be interested. What an old fella has got to say like me, without relevance. But what I did the best of my ability, uneducated, no right guidance, only my father, and he only knew what he could tell you. He didn't know anything himself. He just knew how to keep out of trouble and be dry and warm and healthy and satisfied with that. There's a lot to say about that too, isn't there? But in today's world, keep it, because I don't want to know it. I don't want to know. I don't want to get involved in it. Don't want to know what they got to do. I don't want to know anybody's business. People ask me for advice, I'm going to give it. I'm truthful, and that's as much as I can give. There you go.
You're an incredible man, John. Honestly, like I'm very interested. Just one very quick short question: have you seen the money from KSI yet?
No, he's a waster. He's not a man. He's not the bit but blew off one, is he? Because any man who does something can't pay. He's either got one or two problems. He hasn't got the money. He's a fake and a fraud. Hasn't got $10. The people around him's got the money, or else he's just what he is. He wanted to bet, and can you imagine if I didn't pay? I'd be on every paper, every internet, every YouTube in the whole of the world. John Fury, Welsher, don't pay his bill. So I'm going to give them stick for what they are. The Welshers, degenerates, and wasters. I'm a waster, yeah, but I tell you what, if I'd have betted on it, on what I said, if I said something, I'd stand by it. That's more than they do. They do. So if I'm a waster, what are they? Eh? Nondescripts, oxygen thieves. He's an idiot. And let me tell you, KSI, any more business, you've got to come through me to do it. And at the end of the day, the way you're playing your game, Paul, there'll never be anything. I don't care if it's $1 trillion. Not $1 trillion. He needs to apologise, because he took it too far. Nobody ever spits at me. And if I ever get within feet of him, I'll crack this big right hand straight across his skull and split his head like an apple. I'm telling you now, nobody spits at this man, gets away with it. It's a good job he was 40 feet away, 2 stories up, because men like that would never do that close up and personal, would they? And you've only got to see by the state of his hairstyle what kind of a clown he is. Looks like a freaking pineapple. Jemima, the doll. You remember the Magic Roundabout years ago when we was kids?
Oh, yeah.
Called Jemima. Check him out.